So let's go to our next topic, which is the acquisition of none other than Mike Evans. Okay, so this is they've never had a receiver this big before. I would imagine Anquan Boldin is the next thing closest to what Mike Evans is in terms of size and height. T.O., thank you. T.O. was amazing.
He's huge.
But we knew he was going to leave too. Sterling, what were your reaction to the signing of Mike Evans as their ex-receiver?
Well, you, like Dre Greenlaw, were pretty spot on the Evans stuff.
I knew it.
It's really hard to dislike it, barring health. That's always going to be the issue, I think, for a lot of the players they brought in this offseason. But how do you not like signing a future Hall of Fame wide receiver to play X for basically 1 year? Like, if it booms,
it's a 3-year deal, though. It's a 3-year deal.
Yeah, but the guarantees aren't very high, so you can say goodbye without a high price to do so. But for at least one season at his age 33 year, like, receivers are playing into their mid-30s nowadays. The elite ones are, especially. And what Mike Evans brings to the table, like, this is an exact attack on how can we beat the Seattle Seahawks. This is exactly what this is. This is, oh my God, we didn't have an X receiver, and it showed up in a big way against Seattle twice. This is what San Francisco's plan is when it comes to, we know we have a tough task beating that Seahawks defense. How do you plan? How do you go against it? How do you scheme against it? Well, getting Mike Evans is, one of the big reasons they believe they're in a good place to beat them next year. And they have plenty of work to do still, but I mean, Mike Evans is freaking awesome. Yeah. Like, the age, yes, it's troubling. The injuries last year, sure. But sometimes guys can defy that and they can push past it, and they have one outlier year. And that, to me, does, make me a little more positive towards this, because while the injuries happened last year for Evans, it was 1 year of the 12-year career he's had.
Yeah. And
those things could have been freak injuries, or it's a sign of Father Time's knocking saying, what's up? I'm not sure. But, I'll take a guy that, and this kind of goes into all the guys they brought in so far. Evans, a captain. Greenlaw, a captain for the Broncos last year. Odigizua for the Cowboys, also a captain. They're bringing in veteran, captain, high leadership players to infuse in this roster that needs it, that's young at those positions. So I have my hesitations because of the injury stuff, but Mike Evans is tremendous when he's healthy, and one of the best receivers of the last decade and a half.
Chris Ebner writes, Evans has a LeBron hairline. Just to kind of branch off that
Durant's
comment,
hairline.
just to kind of stem off that comment. I posted that. I was like, oh, never a good sight when your star receiver has a receding hairline. And I had a guy come at me saying, oh, if you've done your research correctly, you'd know that he has that receding hairline for the past 5 years. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do my research on receding hairlines. I was like, whatever, dude. So I thought that was funny, but
like, who are you, Jada Smith, and you have alopecia? Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I should have researched that more.
It wasn't a knock.
Sterling just dropped alopecia smack.
Exactly. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the signing of Mike Evans? I mean, this is a guy that in 2024, when he was healthy, he had a 56.25 separation rate against press coverage earlier in the season. I mean, that's really good for a guy that, at his age. But this guy is a talented receiver. He can get himself open. He can high point the ball. What was your take on the signing of Mike Evans?
Once I saw the financials and what it really actually was, I was very hyped. He's been healthy his whole career, other than last year. If you really think about it, like, he doesn't have this prolonged injury history like, 85% of the 49ers roster does. He's been relatively healthy. I mean, Jerry Rice played good. I would say Jerry Rice from 85 to about 98 was pretty productive. And then, after that, it kind of started to dwindle. So he definitely can have productive years left. I would love to see him be here for the next at least 2 seasons, as they start to maybe integrate some younger guys. But just based on what he's done, his track record, the fact that he's never really been injured all that much other than last season, and the fact that I've seen Jerry Rice play well into his 30s, I'm pretty stoked about it. Just hope he can stay healthy. That's the caveat for every single freaking thing we talk about. I told my brother today, I was like, anytime you have a 49ers conversation, the first thing you always say is, if they can stay healthy, you have to, because of the situation that it is. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I like Mike Evans. I was hoping they could have got to him earlier in his career when he was on the, when they re-signed him, the Bucks at one point. I'm like, no, that would be a guy I'd make a trade for. But yeah, pretty stoked.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
As a big guy myself, I like bigger receivers. I don't like small guys. I've always been a fan of the T.O.s and the Randy Mosses and all those kind of, Kelvin Johnson. So that's another thing too. I'm into the big 6'3", 6'4" guys, receivers.
And so, Sterling, let me ask you: when you compare Mike Evans to what we used to have in Juwan Jennings, is this an upgrade?
They're very similar, albeit very different players. Mike is, and I guess so is Juwan. They are the contested catch, go up and get it. I know Mike has better separation than Juwan does, but Mike also is one of those people that has excellent body control in the air, will go up and moss defenders, doesn't matter their size or their arm length. And I think, when you look at the value this deal brings, like, go look at the receiver class and free agency. Pierce gets 28.5 mil. Pittman gets 19.6. Wandale gets 19. Romeo Dobbs gets like 20, around 19 again. Shaheed gets 17. Evans gets 14.1. That's half of Brandon Ayuk. That's probably less than what Juwan Jennings has asked for in previous seasons. Now, Juwan's probably a better yak wide receiver if we're kind of getting into, their skill sets and whatnot. But it's not like Mike Evans can't equally fill Juwan Jennings' role in the offense, because 30% of his snaps are out of the slot. Like, he'll be a big slot receiver for this Niner team next year, while also being the X wide receiver too. So there's a lot to like. There's a lot to nitpick on, sure, but I think the overwhelming stats would say that, Mike Evans has not played, has not peaked, or at least has not played his best football being behind him yet. He's a guy who even last year for the Bucks in a short stint was still productive, albeit was hurt. And since 2021, Evans has been one of the best route runners in football. He's been one of the better red zone threats in football. 61 targets, 32 receptions, and 161 yards with 24 touchdowns in the red zone. That's over the last 4 seasons. Like, this dude just wants to go up and get the football, and you have a quarterback, which is why everybody wanted to bring back Juwan Jennings, because Purdy high points the football. He lets guys go up there and get it. Hey, I'm going to throw it high. Can you jump and get it for me? And that is Mike Evans. Ultimately, I think if the chemistry with Purdy and Evans clicks, this is going to be freaking awesome next year.
I mean, look, I know I was bragging the other day and saying I called it, but I'm telling you, I knew that they were going to look at Mike Evans because why? Because they saw what Devontae Adams did in Los Angeles. And they said, you know what? That's what we need. We need a perennial red zone threat. We need a guy that as soon as we get in the red zone, all eyes are on him. And now you have to do that with, when they come back healthy, you have to do that against Mike Evans, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's 3 different guys you have to watch out for. Again, the Niners offense just got reloaded with more talent.